Okay, hello and very good morning to everyone. We will be starting shortly in 5 minutes. I hope that you can kindly ensure that your audio is muted and feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Just kindly tell us your name, and if not, we can proceed to the official opening lah. Okay, my name is Khairuni Sabiti Azman, or you can call me Khairun. So for today's session, I am welcoming everyone to the HACCP upgrading webinar, a simple step to upgrade MS 1480 2025. So I am very delighted to have you all joining us today.
يوم يكون الروح والملائكة.
Can everyone please mute your audio, please? So it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's session, Miss June Oilin. Okay, just a brief introduction about our speaker today. She holds a Master in Business Administration from the University of Wales Trinity St. David and a Bachelor of Food Science and Technology from University Science Malaysia.
Khairun, I think Khairun line is lagging.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, can.
Okay. Okay. And Miss June Oilin is a qualified professional in food safety and management system with extensive experience in auditing, consulting, and training as well. She is a certified auditor for GMP, HACCP, and ISO 22000, and also a preventive control qualified individual PCQI under the Food Safety Preventive Controls Alliance, aligned with the FDA requirements lah. So in addition, she holds lead auditor certifications in ISO 9001, GMP and HACCP, and also supported numerous organizations in strengthening their food safety and quality system. So please join me in welcoming Ms. June Oi Lim's today's session.
Sorry, Miss, your voice is poor.
Sorry, cannot
Sorry?
hear you. Okay. Khairun, let me share the screen. I'll share the screen.
Already sharing. I'm already sharing your
Yeah, I will share my screen.
brief
Yeah,
introduction. Oh, I
Okay.
see. So I'll
yeah.
stop sharing my screen. Okay?
Yes, yes. Just now I heard and anyone from the floor? Just now yeah, you have question? Okay, let me share the screen. So can everyone see the
Um,
screen now? Yeah.
Okay, just a simple acknowledgement. If anyone have any question, you can just type in the chat box, and then we will proceed with the Q&A session at the end of the session. Thank you.
Okay, so can everyone see the screen, right? If cannot see the screen, you can unmute your mic, okay? And also just type in the chat box when there's any question lah. So today is just a short 1.5 hour webinar to share about the new changes of the standard for HACCP, Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, which is for Malaysia Standard MS 1480-2025 version. All right, so I hope that you know the webinar that you're attending and you have some basic knowledge lah for 2015 version. All right, okay. So my name is June. My background, I have a bachelor degree in food science and technology, but I pursue my master in sustainability and also for strategic management lah. All right, okay. So let's move on for today webinar. If you have any question, you can always type in the chat box. Okay. So okay. All right, so today, our objective is just to know about the main updates of, to save everyone time, we straight away move forward to the main updates for the standard, which is MS 1480. All right, and then what is risk-based thinking, which is the new standard very much focused on, and also improve your HACCP standard. Of course, along the way, I will brief through also some of the basic requirements. If that you are totally new to the standard, then at least you have some basic idea. But if you're still very blur, then I'll advise you to go for the awareness training lah. Okay. Okay. So far so good, everyone. Everyone can see the screen and can hear me, right? Okay. So I hope everyone line is good. Okay. So what is HACCP? Generally, this is a basic introduction. HACCP is about food safety system. It's hazard analysis critical control point. All right. So it's a food safety management system to make sure our food is safe to eat. All right, for consumption. And what we call HACCP because we need to identify what are the hazards on every process, on every material that we go through, and we detect the potential hazards and trying to control them. All right, trying to control them. Even we cannot eliminate 100%, but we're trying to prevent and control them. So we also focus on prevention. All right. So prevention means prevent the problems before they occur. Okay. So if let's say it really occur, then we take corrective action. So this is what we call food safety management system. Okay. So okay, I'm not sure why my slide when I display on the screen. So I think there's some wording that out of the the alignment. Okay, but I will highlight that so you can know why HACCP is important. Of course, first thing is prevent food poisoning because we want to protect our consumer from foodborne illness. ISO 9000 is quality, right? But for HACCP, is very much focused on your process, your product. All right. So food safety is very important. And then you also can help you in due diligence because you have all the system ready, documentation ready, and you build your customer trust. So it will increase the confidence in the product safety, legal compliance. We can meet the regulation requirement. Okay. So what's the update on the 2025 version? To summary, right? So 2025 version actually to let us have a better clarity. So the requirement is much more clearer to understand. All right. Okay. So we can also reduce the confusion because nowadays, right, for 9,000, a lot of ISO, not only 9,000, include 22,000 FSC, BRC, they are already more towards on risk-based thinking. So that's why the changes of the standard is moving towards risk-based thinking. And it's a stronger risk-based approach. So we focus on the system. Okay, so stronger risk-based thinking approach means we focus on the real risk instead of using template, using a checklist, just according to the checklist and just check. So it allows you to make a more accurate decision based on the actual our food safety hazards. All right, and then third thing, we also fix audit issue. Okay, we also address the weaknesses that we can found in our previous audit and approve compliance. Okay, let me okay, I make the screen so slow a bit. I don't know what happened to the wording. Okay, let me try. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think should be okay on the following slide because I think the wording is not aligned. Maybe some technical issue. Okay. Okay, let me share the screen again. Okay. So hope everyone see the screen. Sorry for that. Okay. Okay, so these are the HACCP print. Okay, wait, okay, so these are the HACCP principle. Okay, so I think everyone know the 7 principle HACCP, right? You need to control your hazard analysis, determine the critical control point. Okay, and then establish the critical limit, and then monitoring procedure, corrective action, verification procedure, and keep all your documentation. Okay, so this one I think everyone know already. No changes is still the same 7 principle for HACCP 2025. Okay. All right, so let's see the standard requirement. If let's say based on the standard itself, you can see from the, the standard requirement, clause 1 is about the scope. Clause 2 is focused on the normative references, which much focus on the GMP, good manufacturing practice for MS 1514. And clause number 3 is terms and definition. They are actually total 24 terms and definition. Okay, for example, validation, verification, food safety policy, compared to the old version. Old version, they have 20 terms and definition. All right. So for the new version, there are additional 4 terms and definition are extra. Okay. So let's see for clause number 3. These are more on terms and definition. Okay. So I think for the impact wise, it will not much impact during implementation, but at least you know what are the changes for the terms and definition. Okay, so 3.1 acceptable level, and then HACCP system organization step. All right, so previously they don't focus on that, so that's why they don't have the definition for that. So for the new standard clause number 3, yes. For sensitive materials, right? So for sensitive material, they already removed for this new version. Okay, this new version, because you can see later afterwards, right, along the way when we go through the decision tree, you can realize that the decision tree also have some changes. So there's no more analysis on the material. You no need to determine the sensitive material part. Okay, you straight away determine the CCP. Okay, critical control point. That's why 3.16 sensitive material already removed from clause number 3. Okay, from the terms and definition. Okay, so this clause number 3 is about terms and definition. Right now, we focus on clause number 4, management responsibility. So these are the new clause, okay, new changes for 2025 version. A multidisciplinary HACCP team shall be set up to develop, maintain, and review your system. Okay, the HACCP team shall have knowledge and experience with regards to the organization's product, processes, hazard within the scope of the system, and the team shall identify the scope of the system and applicable prerequisite program. Okay, so before I move forward, right, I think that you feel that today June's webinar is a bit technical. Yeah, our webinar we mentioned a lot of changes, which actually overall the whole picture it might be a very small changes because the small changes and the small impact. But I zoom in the minor changes, so at least you know why the 2025 need to be implemented. All right, why there's a changes from 2019 to 2025 version. All right, so for example, like 4.1.2.2, right, actually is the same like previous implementation. Okay, the implementation, your practice, it will not affect your system because all this while you already have your HACCP team. Am I right? Okay, but the problem is they have some changes of the wording. They mention multidisciplinary. That means from the auditor point of view, right? Your HACCP team no longer like, oh, I only have 2 person, or maybe HACCP team leader and myself, right? Especially SME lah. So you need to make sure each person handle different role, especially verification and validation part. Yes, I know you already start practice, but auditors start to focus this year that they don't want to have like conflict of interest, and they at least have someone to verify and QC the job from the production. So different role, different position handle different responsibility. Okay, so this also one of the major changes for 2025 version. Okay, okay, so from form a proper team with different expertise. For right, like just now I mentioned, you can no longer have, okay, I only have one safety team leader, then I have my team member, only 1 person. Auditor will expect people from different department, different function, which related to food safety. For example, QA food safety, 1 person, from production, another person, maintenance. Yeah, because maintenance, right, indirectly, they also affect the food safety when they carry out their maintenance job. Then the production need to make sure it will not cause any contamination to the food, especially if the maintenance on the machines which is inside the production area. Am I right? So from the maintenance department, from purchasing department, from warehousing, which handle finished good, Okay, R&D. So you can no longer say, okay, I have so many departments, but only have 2-3% to form my team. So auditor perspective will be different. They will expect people from different function to form your HACCP team. Why? Very simple. Because the asset can become from different process and area. Hazard can become from purchasing, definitely, because they are the one that purchase your raw material, right? So can become from processing, can become from your equipment maintenance, storage of your tools, warehouse, your finished good. So one department they alone cannot help you to overview everything. Okay, so these are the things that go back and check whether your HACCP team cover different function. Okay. So next, because your team from different department and different function, definitely it will affect your training programs. Okay, you cannot say, okay, June, every year my training is the same. I do one refresher training for everyone. Okay, so this year, 2025 version, the auditor is very focused on competency. Yes, I know, since all this while, all the system, all ISO, all hazard also focus on competency, right? But the auditor will expect you to design your training program to address the concept at level appropriate for the knowledge and skills that the person being trained. That means different function, different roles and responsibility. Your program shall be different also. Okay, and then still the same. Your program should be reviewed periodically and also update and assess periodically. You cannot say the system 3 years, then you only have one training program. Okay, so don't give every staff the same training blindly, and then please don't use your training slide for, I think here I mentioned 10 years lah, but normally we'll tell our customers like not more than 3 years. And don't just train, you need to have a training evaluation. Can we use the same slide for operator, QA, maintenance? I think all this while you conduct the training will be the same training, right? But this round, the auditor will assess how you make sure the same training that you apply to the same position, they are effective for everyone. So you need to justify that to the auditor. Okay, that's why I say overall the changes is not very huge changes, or maybe you cannot feel the impact, but the auditor focus might be different this round because they will expect you to have different training for different function. Okay, so what you can prove, you can either through interview, the auditor will interview your team, or the auditor will also look at your training evaluation. Okay, so I believe you will have assessment end of your training lah. So from the assessment, you also can prove that different function, they actually understand their roles for food safety. Okay. Okay, so for product description. So for product description, the changes is for 2025 version already remove sensitive materials. Okay, because I think all this while you may some of you may confuse. Hey, June, I all this while I also identify allergy material or hypersensitive material, right? What's the difference between sensitive material and allergy material? Okay, so this round for 2025 for the standard wise, they already removed the sensitive material. That's why just now you look at clause number 3, the terms and definition for sensitive material has been removed lah. Okay. Okay, later I'll tell you why. Because the decision tree also, they straight away decide the CCP without going through, without identification of sensitive material. So this is also the reason 4.2 sensitive material has been removed. Okay, so far for until now, what's the difference that you can see is for the old version, they very focus on the sensitive material because they you have 2 decision tree compared to Codex. Am I right? Compared to Codex 2022 version, actually for Malaysia standard, you have 2 CCP decision tree. One is for material, one is for process. So now they already removed the sensitive material part because previous version 2019, they very focus on the sensitive. And for the new version, they actually focus on the risk because now worldwide, our management system is risk-based approach. Okay, so for the old version, we identify the material first. But for the new version, later onwards, you can see the decision tree. We will identify hazard and hazard first. All right, hazard analysis always is the core. And then for the old version, it's more on checklist lah, because you need to check the material, then you check the system, check the process. And then for the new version, is systematic way. Okay. All right. So for the 2019 version, yes, you are required to list out allergy material, sensitive material, special raw material. It's more on checklist style. All right. So it's like step by step lah. Okay. For 2025 version, it's more on risk-based approach. Instead of labeling sensitive material in your product description, this system is actually expect you to know what are the risks first. When before you start going through the hazard analysis, you will have in mind, okay, what are the hazards that you think potentially to happen. All right. And then we also focus on our GMP and PRP. What are the PRP prerequisite program is already in place and reduce your risk. If let's say PRP is already there, your risk is maybe slightly lower. All right. So for the new version, they also focus on PRP. Okay, instead of going through the material first, and then you also need to identify what are the control measures. Okay, so here are the summary of the flow. For 2019 version, we start from raw material, okay? And then we mark as a sensitive, correct or not? Right? So now the flow is raw material, you no need to mark as a sensitive material. Straight away go for hazard analysis. Okay, don't worry if you still not 100% understand, because later we go through CCP3 and then we will mention this again. Okay, so conclusion, last time, the last version, the previous version, the 2019, we label the sensitive, we categorize the sensitive material, allergy material. But now, yes, you still need to know which material is bringing hazard, but you no need to label, no need to focus. You just straight away do hazard analysis and identify whether it's significant or not significant, then take control measures. Okay, so these are the major difference lah. Okay, so why risk-based thinking? Because why? Before I explain it, read it word by word, right? I just want to highlight all of you. Risk is because of what? Why we do risk management? Okay, why we do risk management? Because we want to, if you know that you want to try the answer, you can type on the chat so that our webinar can be more interactive. Why we do risk management? A lot of people, I believe, right, you just do, okay, because I want to identify hazard, because I want to reduce food poisoning, right? Okay, then why you want to do risk management? Because the risk will determine your likelihood and also will determine your level of severity, correct or not? Likelihood, level of severity, and also the risk level, whether it's a low risk, it's a middle risk, or high risk. Why? Why you need to do risk management? Everything is also a potential risk, what? But some are low risk, some are high risk. Okay, all right. So why we need to do, and why risk-based is very important, and why at first you need to know why auditor give you non-conformity. I want to ask you one question. Why auditor will give you non-conformity? I don't think I don't think it's because of the auditor want to fight for or not happy with a system, right? Okay. Auditor normally they will raise non-conformity because there's a risk. Normally you can see your statement. Okay, you go back and check from your report, from your audit report, the NC that you get, right, is the potential risk to your company, potential food safety risk. If you didn't take, if you didn't rectify, if you didn't do anything on that particular situation, you might have the risk. So this is called risk-based thinking. When you, before you argue with auditor, or the auditor trying to, you tell you why they give you this NC, you need to think of the risk first. Why they give you this statement? Because you have the risk, okay, to have not to have a potential food poisoning. Okay, another reason also, we need to manage our resources. You know, in a very layman, in our daily life, why bank want to do risk management? When you want to apply loan from a bank, right, the bank always will do risk assessment on you, because if your profile is low risk, they will loan you rather than a high risk profile, right? Because you want to manage your resources. So when apply to the same company, to your company, also same. When your company asks you to do risk management on your hazard is part of the risk management, right? When you do hazard analysis, then you need to prioritize which one is the high risk. Then your company will spend more resources on that high risk. So that's why risk-based is very important. Why I keep on focusing this, because a lot of people just do for the sake of doing. But I hope that not happen lah after you listening to this webinar. So risk-based thinking can make your decision more accurate. Your decision is based on the actual risk and also the resource that you want to focus. Okay. So decision more accurate, your evaluation also more accurate. You evaluate more accurate result. And during audit, right, you can justify. You can have a very solid reason to justify to auditor. Okay. You don't, because of auditor, then you don't know how auditor give you NC, you don't know how to rectify. Okay. So now we look at product grouping. So far, so good. I hope everyone can follow. Okay, so for product grouping, now we already reduced the number hazard plan. It may apply to you or may not apply to you, depends on your industry. Okay, first, if let's say you say, June, I manufacture coffee powder, but all my coffee powder, they are the same, just flavoring different, fragrance different. Can I group in a one hazard plan? Yes. For 2025 version, you can group into one HACCP plan, provided you can justify with auditor, same process, same temperature, same everything the same, just the ingredient different. Okay. So you can reduce the number of hazard plan. You no need to separate so many hazard plan for same product. Okay, similar product. Okay, similar category. So you can group together the similar product. You can combine the product with the same process. Okay. You also based on the same hazard. If let's say, for example, you feel that your product, two product are same process but different hazard, then you cannot group together. Auditor have the right to say you must separate into two hazard plan. Okay. Okay. So for example, if let's say you have 4 drinks, same process, just a different flavor, you can group into a one HACCP plan. Okay. So why did you group this product under one HACCP plan? These are the questions the auditor is going to ask. So you must show because we have the same process for same hazard analysis, same critical control point. We're using the same equipment, same temperature, everything the same. Then you can combine into one HACCP plan. Okay. Okay. So what is HACCP? I think all of you, if let's say you already have knowledge about 2019 version, then you know. CCP is a critical control point. It's very important for us to control hazard, control significant hazard to prevent major food safety risks. So if you cannot do that, it will fail. It will lead to risk whether a serious hazard may occur. For example, a very famous example, pasteurization, because it's a very popular heat treatment step for milk product. Okay, so it helps you to control pathogenic bacterial, and the control limit is more than 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. So this step is called CCP. Okay, this one is just a basic knowledge lah. What is CCP? Okay, so now what the auditor may ask and evidence. I think some of you, if you encounter some auditor, they are very detailed. All this while they also will ask the same question lah. But if let's say all this while your auditor may not ask, so this year 2025 version, when they audit 2025 version, they will very focus on why you say this is critical control point and how can you prove this critical limit works? Because like when I audit, I realize a lot of auditee, the company, right? Sometimes they know these are the temperatures they don't need to control, but they cannot explain. They know that, okay, June, I think I want to heat up to 80 degrees Celsius, but they cannot tell me why. Okay, they cannot justify why. I think I want to roast my chicken for 30 minutes, but they cannot answer why. So for 2025 version, auditor very focused on how do you know this critical limit works. So you must have extra evidence to show that your codex reference, MOH regulation, some scientific journal, industry guideline, validation study, your process capability data, challenge test result, okay, or your own in-house sample test result. Okay, for example, let's say cooking at 85 degrees Celsius. These are the critical limit, right? So auditor will ask, why 85? I think quite common, okay, you will encounter. So you will need to show your validation evidence. Okay. Okay, so for the validation, these are some samples. So actually the difference, right? Some of the company, they already have this kind of validation summary, but some company are very simplified. So actually for 2025 version, right, your validation summary is actually auditor will expect more detail. Okay. Example, what's your product category, this one document control, validation date, version. So you can see what are the hazard element, what are the hazard, okay, and validation method, what's the evidence you use, who are the responsible person, and status, validated or not yet or still ongoing. So actually all this while you already have validation record, but please go back and check, is it your validation summary detailed enough or not? If not, then you try to list down what are the things that you need to prove and justify, and then put under validation summary. Okay. Okay. So just now is focused on clause 4 and also the critical limit. Okay, also clause number 6 lah. So now we focus on the verification plan. Okay, so I think all of you already know verification is to be carried out by someone other than the person who doing the job. Okay, so what does it mean? That means the person who do the job cannot be the person who verified. Must be different person, conflict of interest. Okay, if let's say you cannot do in-house, please outsource. You cannot say, oh, my company not enough manpower. So there's production also me, QC also me. So auditor will not accept this question. This answer. Remember what I say? You need to know your risks, and then you need to plan your resources. You cannot tell auditor, I don't have enough resources, because it's your responsibility. Okay, so same, you need to monitor, you need to take corrective action, and you need to verification. I think all of you are already familiar with the flow. Okay, so I don't want to spend time on this, already same as the previous version. Okay, so okay, let me admit some of the participant. All right. Okay, next. I think this one also one of the obvious changes. I can say main also, but okay, let's go through it. For 2019 version, if you realize the standard, you read the standard carefully. For 2019 version, the internal audit and management review, they are actually under principle number 6, verification. Because internal audit, this term internal audit generally means you need to verify your system. Correct or not? You need to verify your system. That's why we call internal audit, internally verify a system. So it actually positioned closely with CCP verification activity. So it gave a perception that audit and management review are part of the operation verification. So it's more HACCP centric structure. What I mean is for 2019 version, because of the position of internal audit and management review under principle number 6, right? So a lot of people feel that, oh, actually internal audit is just to verify the HACCP system. But when 2025 version, internal audit and management review is actually positioned after documentation. So this new 2025 version is actually expect you to verify documentation as well. So it's more on system level governance activity. It's like your ISO 22000. Okay, it's more on management system oriented. But I think most of you lah, not say lah, I think most of you already practice. Hey, June, actually all this while my internal audit also check my documentation. Yes, not wrong. Just the position of the standard lah. So it will have it give a misperception that okay, internal audit is it? I just want to internal audit my hazard. I don't need to internal audit my documentation. But you don't forget, your documentation can be your justification for your critical limit, can be your justification for your validation, correct or not? So you also need to make sure they are ready before external audit. Okay, so the position of the standard different. Okay, so that's why I say the impact like not much, because you may already cover it, but the position actually there's some changes lah. Okay, so management review for 2025 version, everything's the same, but you realize there's an additional clause. You need to analyze the result of CCP monitoring. All this while, you memang sudah monitor your CCP and memang sudah analyze the result, right? But you just need to make sure in your management review meeting minutes, you mention that. How's the result look like? Okay, can you achieve the critical limit or not? Or do you need to change CCP? So you need to discuss something on that and put on your management review. Okay, so for 2019, they don't have this statement lah. Okay, So if not mistaken, it's last time A to G, now it's A to H. Okay, so for emergency preparedness and response, yes, all this while for 2019 version, I believe you already have emergency preparedness and response standard, but they are not standalone. Okay, so for this 2025 version, yes, they have a 7.4 mention about your company shall make sure procedure in place. Because for 2019 version, you check your standard, right? They mention in your management review. They are actually not standalone. Okay, so for 2025 version, you need to have procedure, whichever related to your company, whichever related to your industry, whichever related to your location, to your country that might happen to you. Okay, the natural disaster, environmental accident, even bioterrorism, food fraud. Okay, how you carry your food defense system, your workplace accident. Okay, public health and emergency, disruption of essential service, water, electricity, refrigerant. Don't forget, right? No matter you got HACCP, no matter you got ISO 22000, right? All your legal requirement, you should comply. All your procedures to encounter, to prevent, okay, to respond to the emergency, you should have. Okay, you should have. Okay. Yeah, just to remind you, I realized, right, uh a lot of a factory in Malaysia, because of the not enough space lah. So actually, uh their they already utilize their warehouse until the emergency exit block. So it's also become one of the reason they very difficult to get the bombasted. Okay, so please aware of that lah. Okay, this is also part of emergency. So you don't challenge auditors saying that, hey, I'm just audit HACCP, how come auditor give me non-conformity because my emergency asset is blocked. All right, don't be surprised, because it's related. If let's say you don't have a procedure to mitigate or respond to emergency, something happened, right? You cannot run away from a factory. So what will happen? You just imagine the consequences. Will it related to food safety? Yes, definitely. You will stop production. Everything is related to food safety. Okay, so don't be surprised. I just remind you on that lah. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Let me check, because I'm just do the talking. So let me check. The group chat. If any question from the floor.
Yep. If anyone have any question,
Yeah.
kindly just insert in the chat box. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see the chat box. Okay. Oh, I saw first question. Are we getting attendance certificate for the training? Uh, you can let us know. We can give you soft copy. Okay, but you have to text our representative, the person, Miss Coming. Okay, for the full name lah. Okay, can we get this slide after this? We can send you the recording, okay, but not the slide, but we can send you the recording. Don't worry. Okay, we can send you the recording. Okay. So due to the intellectual property lah, so we hope you understand. We cannot send the slide, but we can send you the recording of the video. So if anyone have any question, actually you can type on the floor. Okay. So I just remind you all, my webinar, yeah, maybe it's a bit boring and technical, but I just want to zoom into the detail. What are the changes lah? Because I know everyone know what is risk-based thinking, but I want you to know what it actually means. Okay. So I want you to all to clear, to have a clear picture before I move forward to decision 3. Okay? Any question so far? You can type on the chat box. Okay, no question, then I will continue. Okay. Okay, let's see this decision 3. For the figure 2B on the left, on the screen, on your left, okay, is 2019 version, and on your right is 2025 version. You can see a lot of different, right? Okay, a lot of different. But actually, the end result not much different lah. The end result, it will not suddenly. Oh, last year is my CCP. Now it's not my CCP. No, it will not happen. Okay, but just the question a bit different. Okay, so let's see. For 2B, right? Okay, I think I need to use one example so you can understand. Okay. Okay, let's say cooking. Cooking chicken curry, your significant hazard is salmonella. Okay, so now you want to determine if cooking is a CCP or not. Okay, let's see. So if let's say cooking, okay, bear in mind, first question, cooking control measures for the significant hazard? Are there control measures for significant hazard? Yes lah, cooking is a control measures, correct or not? Because try to remove salmonella, right? So your answer is yes. Is this step specifically designed to eliminate or reduce the likely occurrence of the significant hazard? So yes, correct or not? Because cooking definitely reduce and eliminate salmonella. That's why you need to cook to a certain temperature, right? So the answer is yes. So you only ask 2 questions, then you go to yes already. 2 questions, you'll get your answer. All right. How about let's say figure C1. This 2025 version. Can salmonella be controlled to acceptable level at this step by PRP? Can or not? Just PRP or if let's say today you just have GMP, you don't have HACCP. Can or not? So actually cannot. Okay, you don't tell me, oh, June, I control, because a lot of people actually confuse, this question. A lot of people, right, they told me some of our auditee, after attending the upgrading, they still confused, say, hey, June, I control my temperature, my factory temperature, my room temperature, I control my cooking temperature, also consider GMP. Yes, of course, control temperature is part of PRP, but this GMP here means a prerequisite program. For example, like you checking your COA, you check up your finished good, you don't lay on the floor directly, your sanitation program, washing hand, they are all your GMP. But can salmonella remove? I don't think so, right? If can remove, you no need to cook already. Okay, so no, the answer is no. Okay, so do specific control measure for identifiable hazard exist at this step? Yes lah, correct or not? Because cooking can kill salmonella. Is there any subsequent step that can prevent or eliminate? If let's say cooking is your only step, no other step, then answer is no, correct or not? Okay. If let's say your cooking is not the only step, you have another cooking, you have 2 steps of cooking, then your following step is a CCP. So that's why I say the answer is actually the same. Then you tell me the difference. So if let's say you only have 1 step of cooking, the answer is no, then can this step specifically prevent? The same question again. You can see almost the same question. Can this step prevent or eliminate salmonella? Yes. So for old version 2019, you ask 2 questions, actually you can get answer. But for the new version, you have to ask 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Then only you get answer. Okay. Yes, I know. You feel that, hey, then why got changes? The 2019 version, you straight away get answer. Yes, it is, but you can see the difference. For the 2025 version, right? They focus on the PRP. The first question asks you is, do you think that this hazard can control by PRP or not? Or GMP? I mean, PRP is part of GMP lah, can or not? Because they don't want you to skip this step. They want you to think carefully because they don't want you to simply anything also CCP, anything also CCP. Okay, so these are the different. Okay, so far so good. I think not difficult. Okay, so you can see the difference for the 2019 version is actually faster decision. But for the 2025 version, right, is actually more structured because almost the same question you ask almost 2 to 3 times. You can see the second question also, the meaning is the same. Okay, so they will lead you to the more accurate answer. So for the question, hi, yeah,
I'm sorry for interrupt. I
yeah,
prefer to ask question by
yeah.
asking. Okay. Regarding the sorry, is it my
Yeah.
voice clear?
What's your name? Hi, what's your name? How do I address you?
Okay. Regarding the three decision.
Mm,
Okay. Let's say if they have no CCP,
mm.
so is it is logic one of if the company food they have no CCP because of follow the three decision,
Mm.
so their process not require CCP.
Okay,
Is it
Faizul,
as an
right?
auditor
Mm,
you can
mm,
accept that
mm,
that answer?
mm, mm. Okay, depends on what product, Faizul. Okay, you ask me normally for food product, right? Mostly they have CCP. Okay, because you're using MS 1480. If let's say it's non-food product, like for example, food packaging, right? Normally like food packaging is cannot use MS 1480 for because what MS 1480 is under our KKM scheme. So mostly for food product, they will have CCP one. This is the first thing lah. Second thing, if let's say 2019 version you have CCP, impossible you use 2025 version no CCP one. Just the questioning technique different. You get what I mean, Faisal? It depends on your product. Unless maybe there's a chance that you don't have CCP. For example, maybe you repacking. Yeah, possible. Repacking of some dry powder kind of product. Then it's possible to don't have CCP one. Okay? Uh,
Understand.
yeah. Yeah, understand now, Faizul. Actually, in Malaysia, right, auditor more focus on the food safety risks. Okay, food safety risk. Whatever that can cause, can cause food hazard, then they will CCP. But they are, don't confuse with codex because for overseas, right, some of the things that maybe is related to quality. For example, like allergen labeling. Okay, because to them allergen is very critical. Actually, yeah, it's part of food safety, correct? We also cannot say it's not related. Maybe packaging broken, okay, or maybe packaging kemet lah. Okay, the shape not in a good shape. For overseas, when they apply codex, they also treat it as a CCP to control. But in Malaysia, the auditor actually focus on food safety.
Understand.
Yeah. So yes, possible don't have CCP one. No CCP one. Depends on what product.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
I hope
thank
I
you.
answered your question. Okay, welcome. Okay, I saw Jasmina ask current manual follow 2019. How much time given to 2025 version? Okay. Jasmina, normally for every standard, no matter ISO or no matter HACCP, we have always have 3 years transition period. Okay, but also depends on certification body. So you need to check are your certification body already because MS 1480 is accredited by our department standard Malaysia and also KKM, right? So you need to check is your certification body ready to issue 2025 version or not. If let's say they are ready, then anytime you can just upgrade to 2025 version. But if let's say they are not ready, then they still audit you 2019 version. But you will always have 3 years transition period from from now. So I think later, and if not mistaken, there's a timeline one. Okay, you can check my colleague. Okay, so you will send with you. I think it's 2027. Let me get back to you on that the exact date lah. But normally you also need to check with your certification body if they are already ready to get the accreditation for 2025, then you can upgrade already. Okay. So, okay, this year 2025 start implement next year. What do you mean, Asru? Actually, 2025 you can start anytime. But like I said, depends on your certification body. Are they ready to audit or not? Are they ready to audit or not? If not mistaken, it's October 2027 lah. Well, too many dates already. I afraid I'm mistaken lah. So if not mistaken, it's October 2027 is the final date that every company for 2019, 2019, they need to upgrade to 2025. Okay? All right. So far, any question from your side about the decision tree? Okay, let me continue share, right? Because this decision tree, actually a lot of people quite confused lah, because they thought that already gone through the CGMP, for example, like let's say metal detector. Let's say we talk about metal detector. Okay, if let's say the first question, can the significant hazard be controlled to acceptable level at this stage? Can metal detector, control the significant hazard? Okay, so if you answer yes, this is not CCP. Actually, metal detector, right? If you tell me visual check, yes, actually visual check I already can control my physical hazard. Do you think so? Because a lot of people think that because visual inspection is part of the GMP also, right? Do you think visual check can control significant hazard or not? No, right? So the answer is no. Okay. So does the specific control measure for this hazard exist at this step? Okay. So metal detector then yes, no? Because just now the first question is, can you use naked eye to check your physical hazard or not? You cannot. So visual inspection is part of GMP, but you cannot you cannot control to acceptable level. You cannot guarantee visual inspection can control your physical hazard to acceptable level. Remember that, okay? So that's why I say it actually cannot make your CCP become not CCP1. Just the questioning technique more structure only. Okay? So like come back to the metal detector, the specific control measures for the identified hazard, yes, because metal detector you can calibrate, it can actually, more specifically control the significant hazard. Yes. Will a subsequent step prevent? Beside metal detector, do you have any other step? You don't tell me, oh, June, after metal detector, I have visual inspection. No, cannot, okay? Because here means prevent or eliminate. Your visual inspection cannot prevent or eliminate, okay? So answer is no. And metal detector is a CCP. Unless you tell me you have two metal detector. One is before packing, one is after packing. Then the after packing will be the CCP. The before packing one is not CCP lah, because it's the same, because the subsequent step can control. Okay? So far so good? Okay. Okay, come back to this one. So yeah, come back to the difference, right? They are actually more structure, and then you can see two questions already determine CCP, but for figure C.1, right, have to pass 4 questions. Okay, so actually, yeah, the more question, but it's more structure lah. Okay. So I think this one, pasteurization, yeah, it's a CCP. For example, let's say I ask you, washing vegetable. If let's say for those who are doing like repacking vegetable, you just wash only. Can PRP control it or not? So back to here. Can washing control the significant hazard? So answer is yes. Okay? Washing only ma. Washing you can wash away, you can see here. Soil, pesticide. Yes, it's washing. Of course, water quality control lah. So you need to use potable water, and please check your food act. Your food act. Go check your food act. What kind of test to be done for your water? I realized that a lot of factory, right, they didn't do water tests when they use potable water. So please refer to your latest food act and go and check what kind of parameter you need to test on the water. Washing procedure plus your water quality control, then it's not CCP. Washing only correct or not? Because washing is part of the PRP already. Okay. So if you see, if washing use validated chlorine concentration, okay, some industry, right, they are washing, they use a specific solution. That one different story. That one different story. It can be a CCP, because this solution, right, they have a specific chlorine concentration that's specifically designed to reduce micro biohazard. So the answer is no. So depends, because this one can be validated. But if you just use water, cannot be validated. You don't tell me, oh, because I sent to lab test, I can validate my water quality. No, because potable water, we are using the same, so you cannot call validation. We all using the same potable water for food processing. Okay, so it cannot be a validation lah. Okay, so receiving raw oat. So your hazard is mycotoxin. So do you think PRP can control? Just receive only. This particular step, receive, do you think can specially design to reduce hazard? Okay, no, right? Because PRP already can control receive, because you need to get the supplier COA so it's part of the PRP so yes, it's not CCP. So according to this question, Then when you want to decide, is this one faster, lor? Because receiving. So receiving, right, can significant hazard be controlled because you already get your COA from your supplier. In a supply chain, when your supplier give you COA, then you already save another hassle to mitigate this step. Okay? So receiving is not CCP lah. Okay. Okay, so let's see this different. Okay, so for 2019 version, identify hazard, yes. 2025 also identify, but it's more on justified risk and significant lah. Okay, so for 2019 version, did you realize Codex only have one decision tree, but for MS 1480, there are two decision tree, now become one. All right, integrated risk evaluation lah. Remember just now at the first few slide, I mentioned sensitive material. The decision tree to determine to label sensitive material no longer there. So you no need to determine the raw material, sensitive material or not. Okay, no need. Skip that step. Because of the risk, you already mitigate through you get COA from supplier. No need to do double work already. Okay, now same like Codex. So identify CCP. You also identify CCP, but you need to justify why it's not CCP, why they are CCP and why they are not CCP. Okay, validation, yes, still the same, but you need to validate more in detail, and auditor ask more question, ask you to prove more. Okay, normally validation from our auditing experience, from our auditor point of view, right? Normally validation, a lot of people, they cannot prove why CCP because they said based on their experience. So this one is very dangerous. You cannot tell auditor based on my experience. So if you really cannot prove, especially cooking, then you try to have to sort alternative like retort already. Okay. And another thing, right? A lot of people also don't know how to prove is your shelf life. You don't. Okay, this one also very dangerous, right? Especially shelf life. From our auditing experience, we realize a lot of company, right? When they want to determine shelf life, they always use the ingredient. They always choose the ingredient which has the shortest shelf life to determine the shelf life of the end product. For example, let's say in your ingredient, right, you have protein, then you have cocoa powder, then you have some, additive, okay? So maybe your protein have the shortest shelf life, 12 months. And then you choose your product shelf life to be 12 months. This one very dangerous. I can say most of the auditor cannot accept. Most. Unless you can prove that no, your process will not affect your end product. But I can tell you based on our audit experience, cannot accept because you need to do stability test, you need to do sensory test, you need to do acceleration test. Okay, so that's why answer 2025 version, you need to justify the validation. Okay, scientifically justified. Okay, and then data analysis and trend, because previously you focused on record lah, so now it's more on validation. And then documentation, yes, already have, but now it's a lot of, you need to justify long. You cannot just say, oh, based on my experience and all that. Okay, but I can say from just now the webinar, from the beginning until now, right, you can see some of the small changes. It also will change the way the auditor will ask you, especially like HACCP team. You can maintain the same hazard team, same, no problem one. But you need to check whether your training, is it effective for all of them or not. Then the auditor will start question. So these are the small changes that may trigger auditor to ask. Okay? Okay. Any question? Any question from the side? Okay, I didn't see any question in the chat. Okay, so now internal audit. So internal audit but hazard analysis. So for 2019, yeah, any question? Okay. If not question, you can mute your mic. Okay, or maybe Kyron, you can help me lah. Or maybe some participant accidentally turn on the mic. Okay. So for internal audit, right, hazard analysis 2019 version. So you ask about these are some questions, some example lah. I cannot predict how your auditor is going to ask you, but these are some example. All right. So for 2019 version, auditor will ask, have hazard been identified? Okay, and now 2025 version because risk-based, right? So the auditor will ask, how was the hazard significantly determined? How do you determine? Why do you say that is significant? So for 2019 version, normally auditor will check, are they biological? Have you identified biological, chemical, or physical hazard? Okay. And then is there any hazard analysis table? Are significant hazard determined? Do you follow decision tree? But for 2025 version, because of risk-based thinking, right? Then the auditor will ask, what is the justification for you to classify the hazard as non-significant? Especially when you group together the hazard plan, right? Why you group together? Can you prove to me? Can you justify? Is risk reasoning documented clearly? Has raw material hazard been integrated to the main hazard analysis? Or is there any evidence to support your risk evaluation? Why you say this is a low risk, this is a high risk? 2025 version, because it's risk-based approach, right? So the auditor need more justification from your side. Actually, it's good because you know why? Sometimes a lot of people, especially when you change person in charge, sometimes the food safety team leader already resigned and then you take over. And then you realize a lot of documentation you don't know, you just follow, and then you don't know how to answer. And then you just like blindly follow the template. Then you don't know how to answer means you don't know how to justify. So actually it's good when 2025 version the auditor asks such question, it actually trigger why, then you need to have a plan to reduce the significant hazard. Okay. Okay. So for 2019 version, there are raw material decision tree, but now no more for 2025 version. But you also need to answer how are these raw material assessed? Is it through COA? Is supplier control clearly linked to hazard control? How did you control your supplier? Is there any supplier audit? Okay. Is COA verification sufficient? Is testing frequency risk-based? Is testing frequency enough? How do you sample? How do you justify the sample plan is enough? Okay. And then for PRP and CCP. So for 2019 version, we are straightforward. We identified CCP and critical limit, right? So for 2025 version, you need to know, is CCP determine logic and align to your method or not? You say that this is a CCP. Can you prove to me uh why you set this critical limit? What's your method? So you make sure your method is aligned with your CCP. Is rational to document for non-CCP. That means you say this is non-CCP, but is it rational? Can you justify? Okay. Is any elimination step or not? If yes, how do you define it? Okay. If there later control step, that means beside this step, any other subsequent step or not? If yes, where you document it? So actually, if like I said, if your auditor already very detailed, then they might ask all this while. But if not, then the auditor this year 2025 version, they will much focus on detailed validation summary report lah. Okay. So 2019, we just mentioned about validation conducted, but 2025, your validation is more, you need more scientific reference lah, because we realize a lot of company, a lot of factory, they don't have scientific reference to support their critical limit. They just based on their experience and supplier suggestion. You cannot say supplier suggest. What's the proof? Okay. So is validation product specific? Has validation been reviewed? You cannot say, oh, June, 10 years already, my validation same. Okay. You always need to remember, no matter HACCP or ISO 22000, review and updated is a must. Okay. So it's worst case condition considered. Okay. So these are the validation. So when it comes to monitoring, for previous version, we just focus on whether complete monitor, any deviation did we record. Okay. So for 2025 version, remember just now I told you the trend. Okay. I want to recap. Remember, one of the meeting minutes agenda is your CCP monitoring result. So this is the reason why you need to monitor your CCP performance and trend, and then discuss during management review. This is a different also based on 2019 version, which you didn't do before. Okay, you haven't done before. So now you need to include that. So is deviation frequency analyzed? Is data used for improvement? This one is improvement plan. Okay. And repeated deviation. That means something wrong with your CCP. It got huge deviation from a critical limit. Did you investigate it or not? If repeated, did you verify and then justify your corrective action or not? So all these questions, auditor will more focus on your so-called systematic way lah. Okay. Okay. So far so good. Maybe I'm talking quite
Okay.
fast. Yeah. Yes. Any question?
So far so good, Miss June. Do you have another question in the chat
Or
box?
in the chat.
Maybe you can answer the question first.
Okay. For food safety team members who have attended internal auditor training and then redo it. Okay. Yes. Hidayah, yes, correct. If let's say for those you already attend the uh awareness training for 2019 and also internal audit team, right? Okay. You may not need to attend again internal. If let's say if your budget concern, right, you can attend upgrading. Your internal audit team attend upgrading. That means upgrading for 2025 version. This is the basic requirement. Okay. But if let's say you think that okay, never mind, I straight away attend internal auditor training for 2025 version also can. Because the important is I want the auditor perspective, right? They want you all to well known about the changes. Okay, well known about changes. So you can attend what they call a simple sharing for KKM, a webinar, do some assessment. If let's say you think that okay, I already attend your webinar, but it's better for you to have an assessment and then you can prove your competency to the auditor. Okay, so I will suggest you to attend again for the upgrading version 2025 changes. Or you want to straight away attend MS 1480-2025 internal auditor training also can. Okay, because remember I told you, right, internal audit for 2019 version, they are actually parked under principle number 6, verification. But now 2025 version, right, they already parked principle number 7. That means after documentation. So there are some differences already. That means your internal audit should cover documentation, not only up to hazard system. So these are the things that auditor expect you to know. But if let's say you think that okay, I attend the webinar, my team is very experienced, okay, then we also can do ourselves. Then you prove to the auditor that you're competent lah. Then the auditor has no right to question lah. Am I answer your question, Hidayah? Okay. So if you ask me, the bare minimum is the changes, the 2025 changes. But if you want to attend the training every year you have the budget, attend the training, then I will suggest you go for internal auditor for MS 1480-2025 version. But actually the skill of auditing, right? The knowledge of auditing is still the same. Just the changes of the standard only. Okay. Okay. So far, any question from the floor? Any question from the floor? We also do have that's why we all this law actually we also understand, sometimes a company also cut budget. So that's why on and off our company doing a lot of this kind of free webinar to have some sharing lah, to all of you, so that you all can save costs. At the same time, we also got a lot of promotion package, is a very minimum cost, and get free training. We help to do document review, but we give you free next year upgrading. So we also trying to help SME, because sometimes changes, right, not only hazard but also ISO, they got some changes after few years. So you also understand your concern. So remember also, okay, I can take this opportunity. Remember to follow our Facebook, our TikTok, okay. And soon we will have our podcast channel, but that one is a Mandarin version, and soon we will have different language lah. Okay, because actually our intention is we want to have, we want to share more awareness to the team for food safety, for halal, for ISO, because we don't want you all like just do for the sake of doing. I want you all to really understand why you have this documentation. This is the reason also we call risk. This is the reason why the standard change, risk-based approach. Okay. Yeah, Hidayah. Yeah, bare minimum is upgrading. Correct. Yeah, upgrading on 2025 version, the bare minimum. Okay. Because normally when we audit, we follow the ISO 19011 standard, right? The skill auditing. So it's not changes of the skill of auditing, it's the change of the standard. So the bare minimum is you attend the training for the change of the standard will do. Bare minimum lah. Okay. So far, any question from the floor? Yeah.
If anyone have any question, you can kindly mute your mic, okay, and then ask them.
Yes. Yeah. If you're shy, you also can put on the chat group. Okay. So can we wait for 1 minute here? Don't worry. because we understand webinar, like a lot of people like too shy to ask. So that's why we don't have much activity, but we just put our case study lah on the screen. I can show you that this one, the different. Okay, yeah. Anyone you can put on the group chat also. And also, meanwhile, while waiting for any Q&A, right, I just summary. So you can see, let's summarize the changes. Okay. Okay, the clause some different because they already removed sensitive material, then they have some additional clause lah. Okay, but this one, don't worry, that doesn't have much impact on you. Okay, first thing come to your mind is you need to have multidisciplinary hazard team. Your team are from different function. Cannot say, oh, I only have food safety from production and QA. I don't have people from production, can or not? Yes, can, but you justify why don't have. Okay, so auditor will expect the people from different department which related to food safety, because maintenance and purchasing definitely related to food safety, so those department I put here is actually related to food safety. Okay, and then second thing, your training material need to update. You make sure all training material is customized to the department. Also doesn't mean your maintenance people can understand. So you customize some of the training, right? Special customize training, like especially for maintenance department. Even you do in-house, so never mind one. Okay, so make sure your training program, they are related to the department. So these are also the changes. Okay. So sensitive material already removed lah. This one you already know. Okay. Grouping. If let's say previously you have a lot of hazard plan, but your product, they are all the same. Now you can group to one. Okay. But you need to justify same process flow, same CCP, same hazard, same equipment, same processing temperature lah. Everything same. Okay. So validation summary sheet also another different, more detailed. Please go and review your 2019 version validation. Now is more detailed lah. You need to have more reference. You need to refer to Kodak reference, scientifically journal. Okay, a lot of reference. Okay, and then your internal audit. Last time 2019 in principle number 6 lah. So now it's after principle number 7. So that means your internal audit need to cover your documentation. All your documentation is not only documentation for hazard. It's all your documentation, including your emergency preparedness and response also. Okay. So the internal audit management review clause also different. The position different. Okay. Then management review, you need to add one agenda, which you need to review the CCP monitoring result and trend. Okay. Data analysis on CCP monitoring. Okay, then another changes. Last time emergency preparedness response, they actually part under management review, right? Now it's already standalone standard. Then you need to make sure. Shall means kena buat, mesti buat. Okay, shall ensure procedure in place. So that means you mesti ada SOP how to mitigate the natural disaster related to your environment, your industry. Depends on your area. You say, June, my area never had flood before. Tak pernah ada banjir. Then you don't have. But you need to fikir, you need to think, is there any potential risk there or not? What are the potential potential accident or natural disaster might happen? So you need to figure out lah. You need to think and then have procedure on that. Especially food fraud, bioterrorism. Nowadays, auditor very focused on food defense system. How do you know? You know, a lot of food fraud cases, right? There are some bioterrorism means it can be happen that the competitor exploit your product. Okay, sometimes they take your packaging, then they put their product inside. How do you have the food defense system in place? Or maybe your internal staff, sometimes they change the ingredient, so how do you make sure this not happen lah? So you need to have the procedure in place. Okay, then last but not least, the major changes is the CCP decision tree. Last time you have 2, right? 2A and 2B. Now it already becomes C1 lah, only one. Okay, so almost the same question, but like I said, if when you use this decision tree, 2019 version is a CCP. Now you use this version become no CCP. Then you have to go through the CCP decision tree again. Okay, impossible lah, impossible. Just the questioning technique a bit different, but end up right, the CCP is almost the same lah. I mean the whether it's a CCP or not, it's still the same answer. Okay, okay. Okay, so just summarize the changes. So far, so good, everyone. I hope all of you understand.
Ms. June,
Yeah, hi, Faizul. Yeah.
regarding the
Mm.
on my hand, I have an S manual. So I
Okay, yeah,
refer to the
Faizul.
product,
Mm.
I refer to product description.
Cannot hear you, Faizul. Your line breaking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sensitive materials kan dia dah tukar jadi potential material known to cause hypersensitivity kan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so apa so sekarang ni dalam product description saya, okay, kita sebelum ni kita ada tulis sensitive materials, column, and then kita beritahu lah apa materials dia. So sekarang ni clause tu dah dipadamkan.
Yes, betul.
So dia ganti
Tak ada
dengan
sensitive material.
Jadi apa beza dia? Saya kena macam macam sama je.
Oh, yeah, Faizul, good question. Okay, because right, some previously some company right, their hypersensitive and sensitive material is the same. So now sekarang mereka sudah remove jadi satu lah. Okay, actually it's like that. Kalau ada pertukaran on the standard kan, you boleh kekal. Kalau you nak kekalkan sensitive material, actually no issue. Auditor takkan penalize you kalau you kekalkan you punya product description. But some company dia memang tak ada sensitive material, so dia take this opportunity to remove lah sebab dia memang tak ada. Tapi kalau you rasa you punya industry, you punya produk ada sensitive material, and then all this while you nak maintain pun tak apa, tak ada masalah. Just 2025 version tak perlu label sensitive material saja. Tapi kalau you nak label is up to yourself. Tak perlu remove tu tak apa. You boleh kekal. Tapi orang macam company baru yang sekarang nak implement MS 1480 kan, dia hanya tak perlu label saja. Yes, kalau you nak label is actually okay because you choose, is up to you, you punya option.
Okay, you mean label in the kita punya apa ni?
Product description document.
Product description lah, okay.
Yes. Kalau you punya dokumen memang nak kekalkan perkataan sensitive material pun tak apa, okay punya. Because it's your option. Mungkin you rasa, I nak maintain the sensitive material for my label, then okay, tak ada masalah.
And then satu lagi, I highlighted from your tadi you cakap pasal shelf life testing. So what I'm understanding is let's say to one product actually have 5 ingredients. So 5 ingredients need the short life, need a shelf life in normal lah, maksudnya bukan short life. Even one of the product ingredient tu pun kita maksudnya kena buat normal lah, maksudnya macam shelf life yang panjang lah.
Yes. Kalau you ada proses masak ke atau any proses yang akan ubah dia punya activity, so I suggest you pergi buat stability test ataupun you hantar ke lab buat acceleration test. Banyak company dia hanya pilih shelf life for the one of the ingredient which is the shortest, right? I can say most auditor tak boleh accept lah. But if let's say your auditor okay boleh accept, then it's good. But let's say I say lah, depends on you punya product. Kalau you punya product all dry ingredient, tak ada interaction, tak ada chemical reaction, then sometimes your auditor is accept lah. But if you ask me, right, it's good for you to go and do stability test. Sometimes you ada mixing process kan, so maybe dia akan ada chemical reaction lah.
Okay, so regarding question ni, I have one. Let's say lah kalau ada produk tu dia kata 2 bulan lagi nak expire ke, atau 6 bulan lagi nak expire ke, actually kalau normal shelf life dia 2 tahun lah, 6 bulan lagi nak expire, and then katalah management minta untuk repacking, lepas tu buat 2 tahun punya shelf life.
Oh, repacking and then extend the
Ah.
shelf life.
Yeah, repacking. So shelf life tu pun is like kita barukan balik, maksudnya extend lagi 2 tahun. So from your view macam mana? Apa kita nak buat? Macam hantar pergi lab ke?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pergi lab. You tak boleh because of repacking and then you extend shelf life.
So kalau result tu okay and then boleh extend lah 2 tahun.
Normally kan, if you ask me, you hantar pergi lab buat acceleration test. Sebab depends on what product you extend. Kenapa you extend? You kena justify lah. Apa langkah yang you ambil? What are the additional step you take, right? Before you repacking. Then dia menjadikan you boleh extend you punya shelf life 2 tahun.
Oh, tapi yang kita hantar lab tu yang untuk CO biasa lah. Apa?
End product. You hantar lab tu, you
product
punya
kan?
end product. Yes, lepas missing. You punya end product. Sebab you kena determine shelf life for end product. Unless you are manufacturing for ingredient.
Unless
you manufacturing for ingredient, you bagi COA for your customer kan. Then you buat untuk ingredient. Tapi kalau you buat product, you kena buat test for your end product, for your shelf life.
Itu kalau contohlah situasi itu kita nak buat, kalau kita nampak barang tu, the product is still good condition, in our naked eye is still no mold, no grow any mold ke everything kan. So
That's why auditor cannot accept. Auditor cannot accept. Kalau you kata naked eye, auditor cannot accept.
I see.
So you kena sample. Kalau cost concern, you kena sample satu sample from one of the batch kan. Then you pergi buat lab test lah. Kalau you nak extend shelf life, there must be certain additive you tambah dalam you punya repacking. Impossible repacking dah boleh extend shelf life kan. You kena tambah sesuatu additive, preservative dia baru boleh extend shelf life. So, just nak remind you, the preservative you kena refer to Food Act lah, punya regulation. Food safety regulation. And then at the same time, kalau boleh, you just buat the test on your end product to secure yourself lah. Because you kena letak you punya shelf life in your product description also.
Understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Faizul.
thank you, Faizul, for the question. Ms. June, we have some more questions in the chat box, which from Muhammad Asrul bin Abdullah. He asking for storage, no need segregate sensitive ingredient with others.
Yeah, Faizul, I heard Faizul got some question. Before I move forward to next question. Okay,
Faizul, you may proceed.
Okay, if not, then for us through for storage, no need to segregate. Yes. Okay, depends on what kind of sensitive ingredient. So Asru, I also answered the question for Jasmina. Sensitive ingredient, right, can be like, sensitive and allergy material can be overlapping. Okay, for example, right, sensitive material can be like MSG. Some people, they are sensitive to MSG, but MSG, they are not allergen. All right, or maybe like milk product. Milk can be a sensitive material, but some people not allergic. So sensitive like dia macam causing not comfortable, but dia tak akan jadi dia tak mendatangkan maut macam allergen. Allergen like sometimes like peanut, when you allergy can be very serious. Soy, gluten, seafood, you will have life threatening. So actually sensitive and allergy, they are overlapping, but sensitive is not that serious, it's not life threatening. Okay, so that's why they remove the sensitive material. But you kena hyper allergy, dia tak remove kan. So that's why allergy is different. Allergy is something like peanuts lah, egg lah, soy lah, wheat lah, seafood. That one is called or certain nuts they will cause allergy. So they are the different. So allergen and sensitive ingredient, they are certain different one. Sensitive is sometimes you sensitive and then you have rashes, your stomach bloating, that one is sensitive, but it may be not allergic to you lah. Okay. And then so for storage, right, depends on what kind of sensitive ingredient lah, but normally we will suggest our auditee to separate. You jangan letak sensitive ataupun allergy ingredient ataupun finished good sama-sama dengan non allergic one. You punya warehouse gonna segregate. Okay, Astro? You gonna segregate. Okay. Will this training be recorded in a Facebook? I afraid the training we will try. We will try to record in a share in a Facebook. Good idea, but I'm not sure how. Because the file quite big lah, so kita kena edit lah. Okay, if not, then you can Hidayah, you can ask the link from our sales representative, Miss Kerming, that contact you. Then she will send to you. Okay. Accelerated shelf life temperature optimum is 40. Okay, Jasmina, what do you mean by this one? Depends on what kind of product. So for normally typical accelerated shelf life, right? The temperature depends on your storage also. If normal will be 25, 26 like that, right? But if let's say mild acceleration, yeah, it can come to 35, 40. But yes, I think your question asking, is it about the market practice for the lab? Are you from the lab background? Yeah, normally it's 40, but there are also some cases, right? Some lab they do acceleration test 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, also got one. Also got. But that one is so-called strong acceleration, but depends on your product and also your I think product shelf life lah. But 40 is quite common market practice lah. But not saying all is 40. Some they also use like 50 to 60, but common practice is 40. Okay? Is it that the answer your question, Jasmina? Normally 40 is quite common for coffee powder, nowadays a lot of meal replacement, this kind of dry product lah, because their storage temperature is room temperature ma. So for lab they use 40 as optimum lor. Because their normal storage temperature already 20 to 25. Okay. Hidayah, for hazard analysis worksheet for raw materials, still need to mention allergy as a potential hazard. Yes. Hidayah, yes. During your hazard analysis and CCP are two different documents. When you determine CCP, when you go through the CCP decision tree is to determine critical control point kan. But when you go through the hazard analysis tak sama. When you go through the hazard analysis, you nak determine is biological hazard, chemical hazard, and physical hazard. So you kena mention allergy juga, because allergy is one of the chemical hazard. But under codex, like for US country, allergy is a separate hazard lah. They are the empat hazard: biological, physical, chemical, and allergy. But in our Malaysia practice, normally allergy we part under chemical hazard. Okay. So it's different thing. Hidayah, when you do hazard analysis, yes, you still need to identify allergy. Tak sama. Just sensitive material. Sensitive material a bit different. Sensitive doesn't mean cause allergy. Yang sensitive tu tak semesti ada allergy. Okay? Tapi yang allergy tu mesti sensitive to certain people. Okay? Okay, I hope I answer your all question. Yeah, but I think Jasmina, yeah, not standard. Oh, product dairy. Oh, okay. That's why I say normally it depends on the lab lah. Because if your product dairy, right, depends also your process flow. Let's say if it's if let's say your temperature can, I mean your process can cause like unrealistic, like example, chocolate melting, cooking chocolate that can melt easily one, cooking chocolate and those that we eat, the chocolate that we eat different. So like cooking chocolate, or maybe sometimes, right, the packaging, you cannot use 40. You cannot use 40 because certain packaging, when over 30, dia punya packaging sudah out of shape, sudah kemek. So they cannot use acceleration as 40 as optimum. So actually depends on your product. So maybe I think your dairy product, they suggest 40 is quite standard lah. But sometimes, like I say, like, yogurt lah, melting lah, normally they seldom use 40 lah. Depends on what product. Okay. Okay, Liana, allergen in catering scope. Oh yeah, I think for catering, right, quite a lot of allergen. So for catering is when they apply HACCP, if you ask me, right, is quite challenging. So Same like when you go for halal, lor, you need to identify every ingredient they use for each menu. Okay, you need to list down all the ingredients they use for each menu in catering. And then for each menu includes herbs lah, spices lah, sauce lah, and then you determine the allergen. I think yes, catering is quite complicated lah, Liana. Yeah, yeah. So if you ask me, I also feel that. So you gonna identify. So for every catering, right, you can kumpulkan, you can categorize the sauce. Okay, what kind of sauce? Maybe 10 menu they using the same sauce. Or maybe 10 menu they using the same ingredient or spice. Then you just categorize lah. You group together for 10 menu. But you gonna if you ask me at the beginning kan, you kena setiap menu list down apa ingredient yang you guna dulu, and then you pilih mana satu allergen. Then you baru determine you punya category. Then I think it's senang untuk you lah. It's more easier for you. List down the ingredient first, categorize, then only you put under hazard analysis lah. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, Jasmina also mentioned. Yeah, I think allergy. I think catering. When they go to apply HACCP or halal, yeah, it's quite challenging lah. Because you may miss out certain ingredient. Okay. Okay. I hope I answer all your question. Any other question on the floor? I provide. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Miss Jun,
Faisal.
sikit about the validation. Okay. For example, I take a metal detector. Okay, kita ada 3 piece untuk kita test metal kan. Stainless
Betul.
steel, aluminium,
Yes.
and brass lah. Okay, so let's say kalau stainless steel dia 3 mm, the size of the piece.
Wah, so technical. Okay. 3
jadi
mm. Okay.
Okay, soalan saya, before ni memang ada auditor tanya saya, macam mana you tahu, how you determine 3 mm, 2.5 mm, apa tu, size of apa tu, metal kan. So saya pun jawab because of my
you jawab?
experience in other factory. And then dia boleh terima lah because experience. So regarding yang tadi Miss Jun cakap kan, sekarang ni just bukan experience je kan, dia kena ada validation kan. Jadi macam mana saya nak data kan validation tu kan? Ataupun nak cari ke, kena baca journal ke, apa macam mana?
Yeah. I think you kena pergi cari standard. Yes, because metal detector ada 3 types of metal. I think stainless steel is the quite common, but it's very difficult to detect because dia punya signal pun low, quite low. I mean according lah to the metal detector punya machine supplier. Then you kena tengok apa jenis stainless steel. Faizul, you kena tengok is a 304, 316 for food industry. Betul tak?
316.
316. You kena cari 316 punya size berapa. Normally I think 2.5, 3, 3.5. Yes, you kena cari. So if let's say you cannot answer kan, then you kena list down 3 types of possible punya size and possible punya grade lah. Faham tak? You kena list down SS304, SS316, and then you kena list down possible punya size 2.5, 3.0, and 3.5. And then see which one you punya machine supplier yang you ambil tu dia boleh detect.
Okay. So just boleh detect ah. Tapi in term of contohlah auditor tu kalau auditor tanya macam ni tahu 3 mm ni orang kalau terlepas boleh telan, manusia boleh telan, boleh kontrol dengan selamat. You faham maksud saya?
But normally auditor ask you before that, but I don't think they will give you NC if you cannot answer, right?
Dia just macam
tanya.
Just question je, dia tak NC apa pun.
Okay. Don't worry. Okay, I understand. Sometimes auditor they will ask, but I think based on your question, Faizul, auditor will not expect you to validate this question, this statement. Kalau lebih 3 mm atau apa, okay, let's say more than 3 mm, is it hazardous to human tak? Normally you tak perlu risau, dia takkan suruh you validate statement ini. Tapi you kena check you punya metal kan, whether can pass through 2.5, 3, 3.5, that one it depends on machine lah. But just now the auditor question is just ask only lah. Because don't even say 3 mm lah. Kalau you punya stainless steel ada 2.5 atau 2 mm, you pun tak mau kan? Kenapa nak sampai 3 mm? So I think it's quite common sense. So this question you no need to worry lah. I don't think auditor ask you to validate this question, this statement.
Okay. Dia as long betul macam Miss Ju cakap tadi. Kemata detector ni dia based on sensitivity of product. So each product have the sensitive punya measurement lah.
Yes,
So
yes, correct.
macam kalau produk A ni mungkin sensitive 2.5, produk B ni kena pakai 3 mm. Macam tu lah.
Yes, 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 yes.
Jadi
So kalau
based
boleh,
so maksudnya
based on your
validation
machine.
tu based on machine, it's not based on human effect. Macam maksudnya kalau lepas 2.5 mm ni manusia boleh makan dengan
Dua,
selamat kan.
dua
Macam
kena
tu.
ada. Dua pun kena ada. Kalau you nak strict sikit, then you set 2.5 lah. Let's say lah, generally is based on market practice and experience yang you katakan. So kalau you nak set strict sikit 2.5, auditor pun takkan penalize because you kata based on experience is 3. So sekarang you nak set 2.5 mm. Pun tak ada masalah. Yes, yes, yes. But of course, I don't know your machine lah. You juga kena check dengan you punya machine punya capability lah.
Understand.
But normally, if not mistaken, memang ada journal. But for this question, auditor tak expect journal. Just auditor dia nak tengok you punya validation on your metal how thick is they can detect only lah. For metal detector.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, Hidayah, we have awareness training for Codex 2020, but now already 2022. Okay, now already 2022, but need to arrange lah because I think a lot of our customer they are going for MS upgrading, so that's why we do this webinar. Okay, Liana, is it enough if we just listed all the allergen ingredient, then put a declaration at the counter for any menu? Okay, yeah, Liana, if let's say, you okay, you are the allergen, right? You still need to identify and you need to control. Okay, I just want to remind all of you, a lot of people feel that, Miss Jun, I rasa I tak boleh control 100% allergen. So I letak dalam I punya label, I letak dalam I punya menu, my menu control allergen. Yes, a lot of people do that, right? But I just want to remind you, no matter you ada control, tak ada control, you still need procedure. Okay, you cannot say, I tak boleh control, so I tak ada procedure. So that's why I letak statement ni dalam menu ataupun I letak statement dalam food labeling. Auditor perspective, right? You tak boleh control 100%. Yes, it's good for you to put on the label. It's good for you to put on the menu, but you still need to have allergen management procedure. Remember that. You tak boleh kata I langsung tak buat apa-apa tapi I letak menu saja. For auditor point of view, not enough. Okay, I want to remind you lah, you kena ada allergen management plan. You tak boleh mitigate 100% pun tak apa because sometimes it's not traceable, very, sometimes this kind of microorganism you cannot trace, right? So, but you still need to have allergen management program. This is what auditor expect to see lah, Liana. Okay, yes, the procedure is compulsory for auditor because allergen is high risk. Allergen is high risk. So, auditor expect you to have the procedure. You cannot just mention only, tak ada procedure. Okay, so Astro, hazard plan summary. Okay, let's say if your hazard plan, let's say your product, bukan tadi yang I mention punya boleh kumpulkan satu kategori kan, then no changes. Hazard plan seldom change. Unless you tell me, oh, last time I have 10 hazard plan, but all of them are same product, same process, same CCP. Now you can combine to one hazard plan. But if let's say all these one also tak sama, then no changes. Okay, Astro tak ada changes. Okay. Okay, welcome Liana. Hazard analysis worksheet for raw material also no change. Yeah, yes. Kalau sepanjang ini you ada hazard analysis untuk raw material, untuk packaging tak ada changes. Okay, it's still the same. The only changes is the CCP decision tree lah and labeling of sensitive material. Some company, right, last time when they go through the hazard analysis kan, dia ada mention sensitive, but seldom, very rare lah. Some of them got mentioned, some of them only mention allergen. Okay, so now if you mention sensitive, you tak mau mention pun tak apa. But allergen you still need to mention when you go through hazard analysis worksheet. You need to prepare the worksheet. Okay. Any other question? Okay, welcome Astro. Yeah, so not affected if let's say no changes, not much affected. So I think all of you don't worry lah. The changes yet is there, but I don't think a very huge impact lah. Maybe just the training side and validation summary you kena review balik, and you punya training program kena review. And then kalau ada same category punya, you just kena kumpulkan. Kalau you tak mau group one has a plan, you is your choice. Auditor tak boleh paksa you. Okay. If let's say you say June, I want to maintain my hazard plan because my customer request is still you can maintain it lah. Okay. The changes doesn't mean the changes make you simplify your work, but if you don't want it, also okay one. Okay. Auditor takkan paksa you lah. Okay. So for competent, okay, Hidayah. Oh yeah, actually we have training for FSC. We have training and consultation for FSC also, but now FSC already version 7 lah, version 7. So we also doing upgrading for version 7 because FSC version 7 quite new. Okay, so we also have FSC version 7. But BRC, yes, BRC we can do, but just not a forte because BRC is quite niche. Not many customer go for BRC. So Amila, for competency for upcoming audit with HACCP, do all our team need to go for training for new version? Yeah, if you ask me, it's better for all of your food safety team. Food safety team. Remember just now I tell you, person from different department form a food safety team. So those food safety team go for attend the new version training, 2025 training. Okay, 2025 training. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, just now Jasmina share with Faizul the IDDSI. Okay, though this one very technical lah, because sometimes we different client with different industry. Okay, so some technical you can look for. Maybe some of your friends here they by same industry when you they can share with you. If we have FSSC certificate Hidayah, ISO technical spec if it's PRP, okay, got changed. Yeah, Hidayah. Because for ISO, right, now the technical spec got changes, correct? Depends on manufacturing, packaging, transport, warehouse, right? Yes, got changes. But if you ask me, based on our research, right, I don't think there's a changes on the TS so far on the market. I'm not sure, maybe you can check with like SGS or BSI, but the technical spec, right, they seldom have training, just focus on the TS. Hidayah, we have a training of like FSC version 7. Most market lah, mostly they have lah, but focus on the TS very rare lah. Unless you can check with like BSI, SGS, sometimes they have, because this kind of training, right, tak banyak participant, so they don't have enough participant to conduct a class lah. Okay, unless you do in-house, then they specially do for you for the TS, because the TS can be manufacturing, right, TS1, TS5, TS9, so depends on the industry lah. Okay, Jefflin, the HAW for raw material, okay, packaging which is actually if you ask me hazard analysis, not much changes Jefflin. So may I know which part change? Because you still need to identify biological, you still need to identify chemical, you still need to identify physical and allergen. Maybe the changes in on the validation. Remember just now I tell you when you determine CCP or not CCP, right? Then you have more justification. Maybe you nak tambah sikit informasi. You need to add more information on your hazard analysis worksheet lah. So these are the difference. Okay. Oh, you mean table Annex A, page 16. Wait, I need to. Okay, before that, is it all of you have the standard with you? So if no, then you have to go to website Malaysia Department Standard Malaysia, go and get one standard. Okay, let me. Okay, okay, Annex A, page 16. Let me show you the standard. Because the changes not much, Jefflin, so that's why we not focus on the hazard analysis. Page 16. The question that Jefflin asked. Jacqueline, you're referring to MS 1850, right? One 1480, right? Annex A. Okay, let me share the screen that the question that Jacqueline asked. Okay, you all can see my screen?
Yes, can, yes.
Can, I think, yeah, this one, because the standard is a control, so we cannot amend. Okay, like I think what Jacqueline asked is this one. Is it 6B removed? This one is for raw material, right? Yeah, Jacqueline, yes, you can remove this one because the new one no longer have 6B. Then I show you the old version. Okay, I show you the old
Jasmina,
version.
you cannot view the screen ke?
The screen
view
is
the
not
screen?
moving. The screen is not moving.
Now are you looking at the standard of my slide?
Yes.
The first slide of your introduction.
Oh, okay. Then let me stop and then share again. Okay. Okay, let me show you 2019 version. I think it's good, Jacqueline, you highlight this one. Okay. Okay, Jacqueline. So I hope all of you looking at the same screen. You can see my screen is 2019 version, which the raw material, we have raw material packaging is a sensitive material, correct or not? Okay. So these are the column that Jacqueline mentioned just now. The question she asked, is this already removed? Yes, for 2025 version, this one already removed. But like I said, if let's say those, right, you want to remain sensitive material as your, because some industry, right, they still want to maintain their sensitive material. Then if you want to maintain this, also up to you. But if let's say you feel that actually to me also not much impact because my raw material not sensitive material, and then all this one I also choose no, no, no. My question is no, okay, not applicable. Then Jacqueline, you can remove lor. You get what I mean? Because for 2025 version, this column already no more. Only 5A, correct, Jacqueline? The question you asked. So if let's say your material, like I'm not sure, like just now, Faizul, if let's say you want to maintain, if your product description, all this one other sensitive material you want to highlight to your consumer, you want to highlight to your customer, right? You want to maintain, then you need to justify with auditor. Okay, but let's say if like your industry, you memang all this one tak ada sensitive material you nak remove, then you just remove lah. Then yes, so then your hazard analysis, there's some changes. The changes is only remove this part. Okay, you no need to, because don't have decision tree for, already don't have this figure 2A, right? Can already don't have figure 2A. So don't have figure 2A is already you don't need this one, Jacqueline. Yes. But if let's say you want to maintain, also can lah. But auditor will ask you why you need to maintain, you gonna justify lah. But 2025 version memang don't have because they only reduce to one decision tree only, which is they focus on the process. They don't focus on the raw material already. Okay? I show you all. Okay? Yeah. Because they already from 2A to B becomes C.1 correct? Okay? Did I answer a question? Yeah, correct. Yeah. Compulsory to change. If let's say no more decision tree for raw material, you just remove it lah. But let's say, right, let's say today, okay, let's say I give you another situation. June, I don't want to go through this raw material decision tree lah. I don't want. I just want to maintain my label as sensitive material. Cannot? Can. You label as, you just maintain the sensitive material, just segregate, you just label, but you no need to go to the tree again, no? Also never mind. But let's say if you want to prefer that one, everything changes, right? But you feel they want to remove because you need to know the objective of the 2025 version, right? They want you to focus on the risk Okay, and then they want you focus on the HACCP system instead of they want you to focus on material. So this is the reason they remove the sensitive material part lah, because if you claim it's a hazard, then it will appear as a CCP already. So actually to them is additional lah. So if you want to maintain, then you need to tell auditor why you want to maintain, no? But I can tell you most of the company when they do upgrading, right, they will just remove lah. Because from our auditee, from the company that we audit, most of the material are allergen, mostly allergen. They don't purposely go and identify sensitive material. Okay, Jacqueline, got it? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think Jeffrey is a good question. We already, all you know, yeah, all of us, we know, we already know more raw material one. So I think if you want to remove the hazard, yes, you can go ahead and remove it. Then you just maintain the label. If you you don't want to label it, also never mind. Because we already removed the terms and definition, the 3.15. Okay. Okay. Any other question from the floor? Okay. So anything you all can still ask us lah via our Facebook, because we always got this kind of sharing lah. So I hope today webinar, okay, it benefits all of you lah. At least you have some understanding of the idea. Okay. Don't worry, it's not a very huge changes. Just the material part. Okay. So if you ask me, if let's say you attend the webinar, you already know what you want to do and all that, then you can prove to the auditor that you have done the assessment, you're already competent, then you do the upgrading. Okay. Okay. So because as I know for KKM, their ACB, HACCP, actually they don't have purposely have an upgrading version. I mean, ACB 2025 version already 2019. So KKM, they actually upgrading. Then it's actually the whole HACCP course. It's a new ACB HACCP course for MS 1480. So KKM, they don't organize only for 2025 changes lah. Okay. So as long as you prove that you're competent to handle, yeah, you're also waiting for DSM like MS 1514. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So normally if you attend the whole training. It's a new training already. They don't have just specific for the changes. So if you want to save cost, then you just do some assessment, prove to the auditor that you're competent, you attend the webinar, you know the changes, and then you do internally lah, you macam exam lah, some of the quizzes internally, you do internal training among yourself, then prove to the auditor that you're already aware of the changes. Okay. Okay, but because the competency lah, also need to see how auditor verified. Okay, so far so good. Any other question? Okay. If no, so for the recording, you can contact our salesperson lah. So they will send you the recording. I hope it benefits all of you today. Thank you so much for all your time. Okay, thank you so much. So if any question, you can also leave us a message lah. All right, welcome, Faisal. Okay, I hope I answer all
Okay,
your
thank you,
questions.
everyone.
All right, thank you. Have a nice day and happy holiday tomorrow. Okay, welcome.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. you.